Episode 45, All the
Mhm.
Everything podcast. Tim, what is going on, sir?
Oh, today's a good day. Every day is a day that can be good as long as you make it that way, right?
That's right. That
Was
is
that like
right.
a Dr. Seuss kind of riddle? A house is a house when you like a mouse.
What?
I mean, one of my favorite quotes is not today's gonna be a good day, but today's the day I can make a good day.
There you
It just
go.
doesn't just happen. Sometimes you just gotta will it to be in existence. And that's how I'm feeling today. How about you?
Man, I feel you, man. Hey, All the Everything podcast bringing that inspiration bright and early today.
Ooh, I know.
You know,
I
real
keep
quick.
referencing Billy's thing. It's on my keyboard still.
Oh,
And that quote from the good Billy Parchman is "Don't let your downs keep you down." So
thank you.
that was
Thank
a
you.
great reminder for me.
Awesome, man. Thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you.
We got a great episode. We got a lot to share. I
We
think
do.
we should I think it's a big episode.
Yeah. I hope I don't put my foot in my mouth.
Oh, snap. I saw what you did there, boy. Woo!
So let's get to it.
Let's do it, brother. Well, there ain't nothing to it but to do it. Are you ready, my friend?
You better believe it. Let's get into all the everything, y'all.
All the everything, we've got it all. We've got it all, small, weird, or tall. So grab your snacks, sit back, don't stress. Cause Tim and Billy talk about the randomness. Information prone to UFOs will take you where the weirdness goes. It's two guys talking way too loud about stuff that makes no sense, but we're kinda proud. Welcome to the madness.
Welcome back to yet another amazing episode of All the Everything podcast. As always, I'm one of your hosts, Tim Sawhook, and I'm joined by the man who could be mistaken for what we're going to be talking about today, Billy Parchman. And you'll know what I'm talking about in a minute.
Oh, man. I do wear a size 13 shoe, just to say. You have no idea what I'm talking about. But
Actually, I do too.
Oh, you wear 13s?
I do.
We could share shoes.
We could. You want to do like a meetup and like trade shoes?
We'll trade shoes, man. Heck yeah.
Oh.
You know, what's crazy is Chloe, Michelle fits in Chloe's shoes now.
What? Chloe's growing, man.
Chloe is, she's getting, she's.
Do you think she's
always
gonna be as
been, like,
tall as
super
you or tall as Michelle?
I think she'll be tall as Michelle, for sure. But yeah, she is. She's one of the tallest people in her class, and has been her entire life. And so, but yeah, she wears a size women's 8. So we went shoe shopping the other day. Crazy.
That's how it goes when they grow up. You gotta keep on shopping for shoes.
God bless. Yep. But now at least we're in the way. When she gets tired of those shoes, Michelle can just wear them.
There you go. So Michelle, just keep buying things you like for her to wear, and you can just wear them later.
That's just how it goes. That's how it goes.
Well, we teased about having a big episode today, and
That's
Billy
right.
didn't want to put his foot in his mouth. So,
That's right.
Billy, tell them what we're talking about today.
All right. Well, out there in the dark forest, past the firelight and beyond the reach of cell service, something stirs. For centuries, people have whispered about a figure that isn't supposed to exist. Something massive, something powerful, something watching. They call him Bigfoot.
Oh, yeah. That was almost like you were heralding Bigfoot.
I know, it kind of was. It was kind of like I was,
It was pretty cool.
I was harnessing my inner Silver Surfer. Yeah. So, gosh, yeah.
What's great about this episode, we call this the logo episode. So on our logo, you see on Billy's hat there, when we first created this, we made little icons of everything about things we wanted to talk about. Things we've already talked about before. So when we say this is a logo episode, that's what we're talking about. Something off the logo. What's wrong?
We originally had Bigfoot on our mock-up. He's not on there.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
We had a Bigfoot on our original logo, but I don't see him on there. Do you see him?
No. Wait a minute. Who took the Bigfoot off the logo?
We've been
Boy,
doing
this is embarrassing.
A year. I've always thought that Bigfoot was on there. I think
Um,
we even when we were talking about doing this episode said, "Oh, this is a logo episode."
We did.
Yeah,
Son
but
of a
now that
gun.
you're
Are you
saying that,
kidding me?
it's not on
Okay,
there.
wait a minute. Did you take it off the logo?
I didn't take
Because
it
you
off.
work with the guy for the graphics.
Yeah, I worked with
Did
him.
you, Billy, be honest? Did you
I'll tell
remove
you what I
Bigfoot?
did do. Because we originally used like clip art for those, and
Yeah.
originally it had really cool Bigfoot, but I
Mhm.
had asked them to make the clip arts more legit, I guess.
Oh, okay.
And so I guess he changed it out. I just didn't realize it. Oh man.
Son of a gun. Oh well.
But I do love everything on our logo. And this is we said this before. We are Tim, we
Yes.
are the number one
Bring it to him.
Bigfoot. We're the number one Bigfoot podcast on Good Pods and have been since the first couple of weeks of doing this. Isn't that crazy? And this is our first time actually doing episode 45 is our
Yeah.
first time. Now we have mentioned Yetis and we, mentioned some of the ancestors, and just here and there, but nothing
Yeah.
focused
So what?
on Bigfoot.
So what the flip then? Does that mean? Does that mean this is not a legit Good Pods thing or?
Well, this would be. Well, I think what it is our first episode. If you think about it, our first episode was urban legends, and Bigfoot is one
Oh
of the
yeah.
biggest urban legends out there. Even though we didn't talk about Bigfoot on that episode,
Right.
and so I think that because that caught that started the whole process, and so I'm thinking since we did urban legends first, that's how we kind of got on the chart a little bit, maybe.
Oh, okay. And I think it's also in our this is getting really nerdy. Don't worry, it's too nerdy to talk about on the back end of keywords and all that kind of stuff. So
Sure.
anyhow, you know what? We're just not gonna question it. We're just number one with Bigfoot.
Hey,
so.
we're going to celebrate it, and we're going to celebrate it today by talking about the legend that is Bigfoot.
Bigfoot, come on, Daddy.
Yep.
Sorry, I said come on, Daddy. That was wrong. Anyhow, let me give you a couple brief little introductions about Bigfoot, right? So ancient roots about Bigfoot. So long before the term Bigfoot, indigenous tribes told stories about giant hairy beings. They called them Stistales. First Nations, also known as Sasquatch, gave rise to the word Sasquatch.
Oh.
Similar myths appear worldwide, like the Yeti in the Himalayas. Early footprints, 1811, explorer David Tomlinson recorded strange tracks in the Canadian wilderness, often considered the first documented Sasquatch evidence. Number 3, in 1846, in Arkansas, a 22-inch footprint sparks wild man rumors. 1851, Arkansas, a hunter reports a human-like creature chasing cattle. There were some Oregon sightings in 1904. Settlers near Sixes River spoke of a hairy wild man fueling growing frontier folklore. There was an 8 Canyon attack in 1924. Prospectors of Mount St. Helens claimed 8 men assaulted their cabin, submitting the legend in newspapers. There was a birth of Bigfoot in 1958 at Bluff Creek. Road workers discovered a giant footprints. Plaster casts, press coverage made Bigfoot a household name. And the thing that took it from household name to legend was the Patterson-Gimlin film in 1967.
Right. Mm-hmm.
It's iconic footage of the striding ape-like figure they called Patty because of the famous Bigfoot sighting and a pop culture touchstone. So everybody who's into pop culture or anything has seen the video footage of the Bigfoot.
Oh yeah.
From 1967. Now, do you believe that footage is real? That's been the question for years.
That's been the question. It looks like, I will say there is a man here in Tuscaloosa. He's one of my TikTok friends. He's got a pretty decent little following, and he dresses up as Bigfoot. That's like his whole character. He walks around town dressed as Bigfoot, but he wears overalls and a cowboy hat. And so, but he's a big guy, so he's like he looks like it. And when I would drive to the gym to go swim where the pool is, there's this cornfield. And they have this silhouette of Bigfoot out in the cornfield, which is kind of cool when you drive by. You can
really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
so
fun.
There's some Bigfoot stuff here in in Tuscaloosa, Northport area. That's really cool. But that video, Patty, it's a 59-second long video. It's iconic. It
Yeah.
looks like I was watching a couple of them that they kind of like, because they can enhance it a little bit, and it looks legit.
Right.
Like if it's not, it's a legit costume, like movie quality costume.
And for
Like,
1967.
yeah, it's that's
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's possible. Who's to say?
Who's to say? I mean, I can't disprove it or prove it at this point.
Mhm.
But maybe by
Yeah.
the end of this episode, you guys can make up your own mind
That's
and
right.
think, is Bigfoot real?
And let us know. What do you think?
Yeah,
Have you ever come face to face with a Sasquatch in the woods?
Oh,
Oh,
God
man.
help you if you have.
Yeah.
Well, we got some great stories for you today about Bigfoot. Billy, do you
Yep.
want to lead us off with your first one?
Let's go with it. And you kind of, both of my stories today, you kind of briefly mentioned in your intro. We're going to be taking it to the mountains of Northern California in the fall of 1958 near Bluff Creek in the Six River National Forest. There was this crew of road construction workers who had been sent
Mhm.
deep into the wilderness. They were carving a path through some of the most unforgiving forest in America. It wasn't a place where people just wandered for fun. The trees stood so tall that they blocked out the sun. Like it's just a thick forest.
Yeah.
The air was heavy, the pine and the damp earth. And at night, the forest came alive, as you can imagine, with all kinds of sounds that just kind of make you feel like, you're being watched.
Right.
These men, they were used to isolation. They had been out there for weeks because, they're making progress, I guess, if you will. Progress. They had been out there for weeks, setting up camp, running their bulldozers, and pushing the road deeper into the timber. But one morning, when the crews arrived at the work site, something just stopped them in their tracks, literally.
Mm.
Scattered all around the heavy machinery were footprints, like just huge, enormous footprints. Each one measured nearly 16 inches long, pressed deep into the soft dirt, as if it were made by something that weighed quite a bit, like several hundred pounds. And it wasn't just a couple of tracks. They were everywhere. Some circled the bulldozers, some went straight down the middle of the road, others disappeared into the trees like whoever or whatever that had made them just simply vanished into the forest. The men stood there staring. They were trying to make sense of everything. One of them even laughed nervously and said that somebody was playing a prank on them. Like maybe one of the other guys made this footprint and just was kind of walking around making these imprints to freak everybody out. But as they studied the tracks, the laughter started to fade. The toes were distinct. The depth of the impressions were frightening, and the stride, it was massive, like too large for some man to just kind of go and do it himself. Too far of a stride. So over the next few days, the prints kept showing up. Every morning, new ones appeared. Sometimes they'd find them circling the camp where they slept. Others, that's crazy. Other times, the tracks would lead down into the creek and just stop. Like the creature just had stepped into the water and disappeared. These men were like tough men, as you can imagine, right?
Oh, yeah.
They're used to working in dangerous, isolated conditions. But this was different. They felt like they were being watched, stalked, or studied, I guess, if you will. So one evening near dusk, a man named Jerry Crew, he lingered after the others had gone. He was checking over the equipment, and when he heard something, a heavy thud, boom, a thud echoing through the bush. At first he just thought it was like one of the other workers coming back like late, but then he realized, no, those sounds weren't footsteps like his own. They were heavier, slower. They were purposeful. Jerry called out thinking somebody was messing with him, and no answer, just silence. He stood there listening. straining his ears, and when he heard it, he heard this howl, like a low guttural
Yeah.
coming up sound. It was unlike anything he had ever heard before. You know, the sound kind of rolled through the valley, like rising to pitch until it cut through the trees like a warning. Jerry later said that the hair on the back of his neck stood up. And
I
for the
couldn't
first
imagine.
time, for the first time in years, he felt absolute fear. And this is like a big, rugged, guy you
This is
don't
a
want to
guy
mess
who's
with.
been outdoors probably most of his
Yes.
life.
Yeah. And he was terrified. So when the rest of the men returned, Jerry had told him what he heard. Some believed him, others they didn't. But when they saw the fresh prints near the site again the next morning, the skepticism began to kind of crumble. Eventually, Jerry decided that he had to document what was happening. So he mixed up some plaster, poured it into one of the tracks, and carefully made a cast. The footprint was massive, so he brought it to the local newspaper. The editor knew they had something big. They ran the story, complete with the photos that of Jerry holding the plaster cast. And for the first time, the world was introduced to a name that would become a legend, Bigfoot. So from that moment on, Bluff Creek was never the same. People flocked to the area, hoping just to see the creature for themselves. Hunters, scientists, thrill seekers, they all came. And Jerry Crew, a quiet construction worker who just wanted to do his job, became a man who unintentionally gave birth to one of the greatest American legends in history.
Wow.
To this day, people argue about these footprints. Were they genuine? Was this proof of something undiscovered, something primal that is still walking among us? Or was it a clever hoax that just spiraled out of control? We may never know the truth, but out there in those forests, when the sun dips below the trees and the night presses on, some folks swear they can still hear it. Heavy footsteps in the distance and that eerie, bone-chilling howl of the creature that we like to call Bigfoot.
Nicely done. That's a good one. Yeah. Do you find it to be like, you think it was real? You think it was a prank? I mean, where did the guy have this plaster
Something
from?
was real, but I guess that's how pranks are. I don't know. Oh,
I mean, there's millions of Bigfoot sightings, so
millions, and yeah, there's so many different sightings, but it's kind of like the Loch Ness monster,
yeah.
It's one of those.
I feel like there's been more. Well, I don't even want to say evidence because really, there's never anyone's ever found a body or anything. But I feel like there's more to it than Loch Ness, as far as sightings and all that stuff.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Different places around the world and all those things.
There's more documentation, more things out there for Bigfoot, because Bigfoot's not only like the Sasquatches, the legends happen all over in the forest, Tennessee,
all over the world.
Yeah. Here. And then of course, if you go up to the Himalayas, you got the Yetis and the snow version, I guess. Gotta watch out for those Yetis.
And Disney has a pretty cool ride about the Yetis.
I am a fan of Everest. I just wish they could fix the Yeti. It worked there for the first.
It was so cool at the beginning.
It was so cool, and now it's just a strobe light. Man,
it's just a strobe light. Yeah, so we're talking about an Animal Kingdom in Disney World. They have a ride called Expedition Everest, and if you wait through the whole queue, it shows you all these pictures and stuff how they went on this expedition and tracked down like different things about Bigfoot. It's really kind of cool.
Yeah,
and then the roller coaster is fantastic, and they do have a big Yeti in there. It used to be like this one of the best animatronics they had, like this huge Yeti that would swipe down at you with an arm.
Yeah,
but that broke, and they eventually just did not fix it. So now
so he's just kind of up there, and as you fly by, it's kind of strobing to kind of give it the effect that it's, But like when it was so big that it broke the foundation, and that's what happened, and that's why they can't fix it, because it's a foundation issue.
I didn't realize that.
And it's because it was so big and it was so heavy when it moved. And so I guess that's where the issues come. So I don't think without tearing a majority of it out and kind of redoing it, That doesn't
Well,
make sense.
that engineer should have been fired then. Like you didn't get it right. You didn't get it right. Anyhow, side tangent about Disney World. Go check out Expedition Everest.
We
That
are
was a good
Disney
story
adults,
too.
and so that happens time to time.
Yeah.
you know.
We love ourselves some Disney. That's
Uh,
where Leslie is right now, actually.
She is there living the VIP life. Whoop whoop.
She is VIPing it up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Here is my story. So it was just after sunset on a warm May evening in Monroe County, Michigan. The kind of evening where the air feels heavy, the frogs sing in the reeds, and the surface of Plum Creek lies flat and glassy, broken only by the occasional splash of a fish. A 47-year-old father and his 12-year-old son had decided to spend their Saturday bow fishing. The boy had been pestering his dad all week. Come on, Dad, the weather's perfect. Just us, the dog, and the creek. And so they went. They weren't alone. Their faithful Labrador trotted along the bank, ears twitching with every sound in the darkening woods. For the first hour, everything was perfect. The kind of simple, grounding silence you only find in the outdoors. Cicadas buzzing, water lapping, and the occasional whistle of a distant train.
Mm-hmm.
The father showed his son how to steady his arm, how to wait for a subtle ripple of a carp near the surface. They whispered, laughed, let the dog splash in the shallows. But then, everything changed. The first sign was the dog. He froze mid-step, ears perked, hackles raised. He stared into the tree line with a low, rolling growl that neither father nor son had ever heard him make before. Not a playful bark, not an excited whine, but a warning. Probably a deer, the father muttered, trying to keep his voice calm, but the words didn't convince even himself. Yeah, no, like it's fine, son.
That's all good.
And then the boy whispered, Dad, he's never growled like that before. Before the father could respond, the dog bolted straight into the trees. Branches snapped as he disappeared into the underbrush, barking wildly and furiously. The father hissed after him, Hey, get back here. He turned to his son, Stay put, don't move. The woods went silent for a moment. No cicadas, no frogs, just silence. And then it came. Thud. A deep, heavy crack echoed through the trees. Something had landed or fallen from a great height. The father's heart leapt. That wasn't the sound of a branch breaking. That was weight, a body hitting the ground. The dog yelped once and then went quiet.
Oh, no.
I know. The boy clutched his bow tighter, eyes wide. Dad, what was that? The father swallowed hard and said, Just stay close, son. From about 10 feet up in a tree, someone had just jumped down, and now, out of the shadowed woods, it moved. The father saw it first, a hulking figure, massive shoulders, dark, shaggy hair that caught the last traces of twilight. It moved like no bear he'd ever seen, too upright, too fast. In those brief seconds, his brain scrambled for answers. Bear? Moose? Man in a suit? Nothing fit. The creature was huge, at least 7 feet tall, maybe more. Its body was thick, muscular, like a gorilla, but its movements were like shockingly quick. The father gasped and instinctively stepped in front of his son. The creature didn't hesitate. It sprinted, not at them, but across their path, tearing through the underbrush with impossible speed. Within seconds, it was gone, leaping the train tracks at the edge of the woods as if there was nothing more than a crack in the sidewalk. The entire encounter lasted 10 seconds, but those seconds stretched into eternity. The sound of its heavy footfalls, the raw power it strides, the way it seemed to almost blur as it moved, seared into their memories forever. For a long moment, father and son stood frozen. The boy's breathing was ragged, the bow trembling in his hands. Daddy whispered, What was that? The father didn't answer right away. He was staring at the spot where it had landed, where the ground was still shaking in his mind from that thud. Finally, he put a hand on his son's shoulders and says, We're going now.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, we're getting the heck out of here, son.
Absolutely.
They whistled frantically for the dog, who eventually returned, tail low, ears back, whining like a puppy who'd seen a ghost. Oh, poor boy. As they hustled back to the truck, every sound in the woods felt magnified. A twig snapping, the rustle of leaves, the distant hoot of an owl. The boy kept glancing over his shoulder. The father kept telling him not to. Later, when they told their story to investigators from the BFRO, which stands for Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization, both father and son were visibly shaken. They described the same thing, the size, the speed, the upright shape. And BFRO's founder, Matt Moneymaker himself, called the account credible. And when asked why hadn't they taken a photo, the father just shook his head. 10 seconds, he said. It was there, and then it wasn't. You don't think about your phone. You just survive. So to this day, Plum Creek looks the same, quiet, beautiful, perfect for fishing. But for that father and son, the woods will never feel the same again because they know. When the dog growls, when the woods fall silent, when something heavier than you can imagine lands with a thud, you know you're not alone out there.
Oh man,
Bigfoot.
why didn't you get a picture? Yeah, Yeti. Yo, Sasquatch, let me get a selfie, bro.
Hey, are you wearing a
What?
cowboy hat and overalls?
Right?
Wait a minute, is that your neighbor?
What? What in the world? Yeah, why didn't you get a photo? Because I was trying not to die or pee my
Yeah, I was trying
pants.
not to die. Oh man, I couldn't imagine though, like hearing this massive thud and seeing some because it's not even like you may know of Bigfoot, but it's not in your everyday imagination thinking
Right.
I'm going to
Mhm.
see this massive creature. Yeah, that would have creeped me out quite a bit.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I know the couple times we come pretty close to bears. You know,
Oh yeah, we've talked about bears many times. Billy
we
has
have
quite
to.
a technique to get rid of every version of a bear.
That's right.
I don't know
I've
what
got
I
to.
don't know what podcast that was, but you were
Yeah.
talking about it.
Yep. You got. There's certain ways you handle like black bears, grizzly bears, and if it's a polar bear, just pray.
Right.
Just pray.
I think it was the episode where you talked about going to Gatlinburg with your kids
Yep. There you
and
go.
all the
I think
version of
so.
different bears and stuff.
Oh
So
man. Yeah.
anyhow,
Oh
whew,
boy.
I felt sorry for that poor dog.
Oh.
At least nothing
Whew.
happened to the dog. When they said they
I
whistled
know.
for it, and it finally came, I was like, dog's
At
dead.
first, when you said there was a big thud, for some reason I was thinking that it had thrown the dog. And I'm
Same.
like, and then I thought to myself, people are going to boycott this. You don't hurt dogs, like people were like, if they hurt Crypto on Superman, I'm rioting. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
They actually was a scene where originally that one of the characters had punched the dog, had punched Crypto,
Oh no.
and it tested so poorly in the when they were trying to make it that they took it out completely and changed it up a little bit to make it not as
Yeah,
bad.
I would have hated that so much.
Yeah. So, but I was thinking, oh my God, did Bigfoot throw this dog? Dunk.
Somehow I shouldn't be surprised since I'm the one who found the story and I've read it like 5 times. But still, I'm like thinking it's the dog.
It's the
Even though I
dog.
know it wasn't the dog, but
It was Bigfoot jumping down. Oh
Bigfoot,
man,
jump on it. Jump on it.
Jump on it.
Mhm. All right, what do you
Oh.
got for your next story, bud?
Well, I got one that's just terrifying, right?
Oh gosh.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Could you just when I read this, just put yourself in the shoes of these people inside this cabin, okay?
All right, I'm locked in.
This is the Ape Canyon attack. It was July of 1924. High on the slopes of Mount St. Helen in Washington State, a group of 5 miners had set up camp near a narrow gorge, later known as Ape Canyon. They were rugged men, loggers, prospectors who spent their lives in the wilderness. They weren't the type that's to scare easily, So that gives them credibility right there.
Yeah.
After several weeks of working their claim, they began to notice strange things. Large footprints appearing around their cabin, prints so big that they couldn't possibly belong to any man. At night, they sometimes heard rustling in the bushes, followed by heavy, deliberate steps. The men kind of laughed it off at first. Maybe it's a bear, maybe it's an elk, but one of the miners, Fred Beck, swore it felt like something was watching him.
Mm-hmm.
One evening, he had this feeling that just turned into fear. As Fred was walking back towards the camp, he saw movement in the tree line. A massive figure, hairy, upright, broad-shouldered. It was staring right at him across the small canyon. Instincts took over. Fred raised his rifle and fired. The creature staggered and fell, tumbling down the gorge. The men thought that would be the end of it, but it wasn't. That night, long after they had locked themselves inside the small log cabin, the attack began. It started with a thud. Something had slammed against the side of the cabin so hard that the walls shook. Then came another crash, rocks pounding against the roof. The men scrambled for their rifles as the boulders rained down from the darkness outside.
Oh my God.
They realized with dawning horror that they weren't just dealing with one creature. they were dealing with several, maybe even more. The miners peered through the cracks in the logs to catch a glimpse of this hulking, man-like shape circling in the moonlight. Hairy silhouettes moved with two legs. Their eyes were glowing in the firelight coming from inside the cabin.
Oh my
Then
gosh.
came the pounding. Fists and rocks hammering against the walls, claws scraping against the wood. At one point, one of the creatures reached through a gap in the roof, trying to claw at the men inside. They fired back blindly, the sound of gunfire mixing with the guttural roars outside. Hour after hour, the siege continued. The creatures howled and shrieked, throwing their weight against the cabin, trying to break inside. Every time the miners thought that the attack had stopped, another boulder would slam against the roof, or a massive shape would crash against the door. The men huddled together, firing whenever they saw movement, praying that the walls would hold. By dawn, the assault finally ended. The forest grew quiet again, as if nothing had happened. When the
Wow.
men cautiously stepped outside, the cabin was battered and scarred. Rocks littered the roof and the ground around. Giant footprints surrounded the camp, and yet there was no signs of the creatures themselves. Shaken and exhausted, the miners packed up and abandoned their claim, and they never went back. They told their stories to the local newspaper, describing the attackers as mountain devils, huge, hair-covered beings that moved like men, but had the strength of a monster. Skeptics said it was just bears or maybe some exaggeration of frightened men. But to this day, Ape Canyon remains one of the most infamous Bigfoot stories in history.
Wow.
Hikers who wander off too far on the trails at night sometimes claim they hear the cries in the distance, low, echoing howls carried by the wind. And some say if you listen closely, you can still hear the rocks tumbling down the slopes as if something's out there, something massive, still defending its territory. But for Fred Beck and the others, there is no question. They didn't imagine it. They survived it. And the night the mountain devils attacked their cabin in Ape Canyon have been etched into legend ever since. Oh,
Wow.
man, oh man.
There's a lot to unpack there.
There is a lot. That would have been terrifying.
Oh my gosh. I mean, when you start talking about rocks and you said the word boulders, I was like,
Yes.
wait, I'm picturing like small rocks hitting the thing, because that is a big thing. If you ever watch any Bigfoot research shows or whatever, they will throw rocks at people, supposedly. They will also bang things on trees.
Yeah.
To make noises, knocking, and then they'll have the hooping and howling and all that kind of stuff. But so anyhow, when you said that, I was like, oh, they're throwing rocks at the place. Now, when you said the word boulder, then that terrified me a bit.
Yeah. These guys are strong.
Yeah, and then they're banging against the door and the walls and trying to get. Oh my gosh, that must have been terrifying.
Terrifying. Now, it could have been that they just got drunk and then tore up the house and said, oh, shoot, we got to do something about this. And so, mountain
We need a
devils.
story for our wives.
Mountain
Yeah.
devils try to come
It's
get
mountain
us.
devils, honey. It
It
wasn't
wasn't
me,
the
honey. It was
moonshine. It was the mountain devils.
that mountain devil came out and then banged on the door. I was thinking for a cabin back in those days, like how it withstood all that.
Now,
beatings
log
of the
cabins
place.
are stout, though. You know, like legit
That's a good
log
point,
cabins.
yeah.
And so, because they're thick, I miss
Some
those
thick
little
old
Lincoln
boys.
logs. You ever play with Lincoln
No.
logs growing up?
This
Come on now.
morning,
You played
Have
with Lincoln logs
coffee.
this morning.
coffee and Lincoln logs, baby. That's how you have a good day.
That's how you start the day off right.
Get yourself
your
some Lincoln
cabin.
logs.
That's right.
All the
That's
Everything
right.
podcast. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
So yeah, I guess you're right. Those cabins were pretty solid,
Oh man.
but still, like the
Terrifying.
rampage and everything that happened. It sounds insane. Insane. Okay, that was a good one.
Thank you, sir.
Creepy. You're right. Because I waited, like you said. I put myself in their position. I pictured being in that house and hearing all these things and
Seeing the claws coming through the roof, trying to
gosh.
swipe at people.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Uh,
Oh, no thanks.
You're like, no, thank you. No, thank you.
I'm gonna pass on that one.
Take it back, please.
Because I'm not an outdoors mountain man, so anything would scare me. You're like, Tim, it's a squirrel. I don't know that, and you don't know that. You're like,
long as
no, I
it's-
just saw the squirrel. Yeah.
As long as it's not a bird, you might make it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Dang birds, man. At least
Birds, man.
Bigfoot's not a bird. Anyhow, maybe there's a bird foot out there. I don't know.
Oh man.
Okay. All right. Here is my next story. Let's just get into it here.
Let's do it.
So, the woods of Pennsylvania are older than most people realize. They stretch out like an endless ocean of oaks and pines, broken only by dirt roads, hunting cabins, and an occasional flicker of headlights from a distant highway. To some, they're a sportsman's paradise. To others, they're a place to get lost and never be found. Well, on the night of February 19th, a man known as MK went out on a raccoon hunt. It was supposed to be routine. He had his gear, his flashlight, his raffle.
His raffle. He's got his raffle tickets.
He's got his raffle tickets for
Ready to go.
some popcorn and playing games.
Right.
So he had his rifle slung over his shoulder. He knew these game lands. He walked them dozens of times before, but this time would be different. This time, someone was watching him. MK parked his truck at the trailhead, let the door thud closed. The cold air bit his skin, but he welcomed it, kept him sharp. He switched on his headlamp, the narrow beam cutting a path through the darkness. The forest was alive with its usual noises, the crunch of frozen leaves under your boots, the distant hoot of an owl, and the rustling of raccoons scurrying through the bush. But soon, the familiar comfort of the night began to unravel. It started as a feeling, that prickling sensation on the back of your neck, that sense that eyes are on you. He stopped, listening. The forest went oddly still. Even the raccoons seemed to have vanished. He told himself it was nothing. Just his nerves, maybe a coyote, maybe a stray dog, but then he heard it. Crunch, crunch, crunch. Something was pacing him, staying just outside the beam of his headlamp. Every time he stopped, it stopped. Every time he moved, it moved. MK raised his rifle and shouted into the woods, "Who's out there?" His voice came out louder than he expected, echoing into the black. No answer. Just breathing, heavy, labored, like a bellows in the dark. MK's heart hammered in his chest as he swung the flashlight toward the sound. For a moment, the beam caught nothing but tangled branches and shadows. Then it appeared. A face. Not an animal's face, not a raccoon, not a deer, not a bear. A face like King Kong. Gray skin, stretched. King Kong's out in the woods now.
Yeah.
Gray skin stretched across massive cheekbones, a broad, flat nose, deep-set eyes that glinted with the reflection of his light, coarse tufts of hair sticking out from its scalp like a jagged brush. The creature's expression was neutral. It wasn't curious. It was angry. MK gasped, stumbled back a step, nearly dropping his rifle. The figure was only 40 feet away from him, towering, muscular, and horrifying. MK didn't wait. He bolted. Branches tore at his jacket as he sprinted down the trail. His flashlight beam swung wildly, throwing ghostly shapes across the trees. Behind him, the crunching of footsteps, echoing again, closer this time, heavier, faster. He didn't dare look back. His lungs burned, his legs ached, but adrenaline pushed him forward. He imagined those giant gray hands reaching, closing around him, dragging him off into the darkness. The forest seemed endless, the trail twisting and bending in the beam of his light. His boots slipped into frozen mud, nearly sending him sprawling many times. He forced himself upright, breathing ragged, and then, through the trees, he saw it, the truck. He reached it when it what felt like the longest sprint of his life. Fumbling with the handle, he ripped the door open and hurled himself inside, slamming it shut, locking it with shaking fingers. For a moment, he just sat there, chest heaving, eyes darting to the mirrors, the windshield, the darkness pressing in from every side. The forest was silent again. No footsteps, no breathing, nothing. But MK knew whatever he had seen, whatever was out there, it wasn't gone. Not really. Later, when MK told his account, he struggled to put the image into words. It looked like the King Kong, he said. That's the only way I can describe it. The face, the size, the way it stood there like it was waiting. Skeptics, of course, laugh. They always do. But his voice carried kind of a terror you can't fake, a memory branded into his mind forever. And one detail stuck with investigators, the eyes. How they didn't shine like an animal's caught in headlights. How they seemed to look back, intelligent, calculating. Today, the Pennsylvania game lands are still open, still busy with hunters and hikers. People walk those same trails every day. But MK doesn't, because when he closed the door of his truck that night, it wasn't just the end of a hunt. It was the end of his trust in those woods, because he knows something out there behind the trees in the silence between footsteps, something is waiting, watching, measuring you up the way a predator does. And
Oh,
if you're unlucky enough to shine your light into the dark, you might just see the face of King Kong staring back.
it's a gorilla.
Wait a minute. Oh, and the back part of the story, it was actually a gorilla that got out of the zoo. So never mind.
Oh.
No, just kidding.
That would be scary as well. Bigfoot
Yeah, that would
or
be
gorilla.
Yeah, the creepiness of that, the visual, I can see like his headlight going back and forth, seeing images on trees from him running.
Yes.
That's creepy. That detail is creepy.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I'd ever go back into the woods again.
Oh no, I'm done. It's retired.
I used to
Not-
hike a lot. All the woods, I'd go different places and hike forever, get deep
Yeah.
into the woods by myself. Sometimes I think I'd hear a crack, look around, there's nothing there. But sometimes you just get that weird feeling on the back of your head. The hair goes up. Not that I ever saw a Bigfoot, but still it creeps you out.
About 15 years ago, have you ever seen this? It's one of my favorite viral videos from 15. It's an actual news report. It was from was it Columbia or Cleveland County? I don't know if it was in Ohio or if that's just the name. There's lots of different Clevelands or whatever. But it's from this particular news. Then they're like, out in Cleveland County, there's been a 911 report the police had to come out for, and they interviewed like this mountain guy. He's got his it's one of those guys that kind of looks like he lives off grid,
Yeah, he's seen some stuff.
And he said that there was this huge Bigfoot creature that was trying to get his chickens. And he said, I went out there and I rough talked him and I said, get. And then he just ran right off into those bushes right there. He had long, beautiful hair. Have you ever seen that video?
No.
I will post that. I'm going to repost this. Yes. When this episode comes out, I'm going to post this video of this man talking about the Bigfoot.
That is hilarious.
He had long, beautiful hair.
That's amazing.
I had to rough talk him.
Rough talk him. That's the best part.
Yep. It's internet gold.
Well, I would say that this has been a Bigfoot episode, man. This is fun. There's so many more stories out there too, because it was hard to narrow it down because there was so much out there.
Oh yeah.
So we want to know, have you ever seen a Bigfoot? Have you ever heard something out in the woods you're like, that's creepy and loud? It could be a Bigfoot.
Mm-hmm.
That would be amazing. And Billy, where could they interact with us and tell us their Bigfoot stories?
Absolutely. Hey, the best place. Let's head on over to Facebook, over to Metaland, if you will.
Metaland.
Hit that follow button and leave us a comment. Look out for different posts throughout the week, announcing videos and new episodes and things like that. We're also on the old TikTok, so head on over, or Instagram. We're there as well at All the Everything Podcast. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy.
There you go. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as we did researching and talking it out here today. So we really appreciate you checking in. Don't forget, we are looking for some new 5-star written reviews on Apple Podcasts. We are giving away gift cards. It's that easy. Just leave us a review.
Again,
that's all you got to do, and you have a chance to win that beautiful Amazon gift card. Who doesn't want that? I do.
Right?
Buy yourself a Bigfoot hat or something. Whatever you want, it's up to you. So, again, thanks for joining us for another amazing episode of All the Everything Podcast. I hope you guys have an amazing day, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, y'all.